5, 4, Friday! 5 for Friday number 8. This week's episode is about homestead and off-grid living essentials. I made this list to commemorate my 9th year living off-grid and my 4th year living on my tiny homestead. Some people have different definitions of living off-grid and what that is, but I define it as generating your own power independent of the power grid, having at least one type of animal for food, and growing at least some of your own food. Learned many things along the way and found several products, tips, and tricks that made living off-grid that much easier. So without further ado, let's flash on into number 5. Alright, you'll need a good headlight with extra batteries. You will use it every day, or should I say night. I never leave without my headlamp. It's useful for auto jobs, getting a closer look in low light settings, and it's the best way to go hands-free while doing much needed maintenance. From blasting raccoons in the chicken coop late at night, or encountering ET for the first time. Get something that won't quit when you need it most. Get something with a low light setting to conserve battery and a red or green light setting to keep your night eyes. Keep on your person at all times. I keep mine in my jacket pocket. I recommend an Energizer headlamp as a cheap option. I used one for years very heavily and was still held up great, but gotta get up with that O light for quality, durability, and battery life. They're excellent and last a very long time on a single charge. Stabbing into number 4.
Stand back, I gotta practice my stabbing. No, please, help, stop it, please!
Hey, keep it down in there, I'm tuning my banjo!
A good pocket knife. You will always use this all the time, I assure you. From carving, fish cleaning, animal cleaning, general purpose, screwdriver, cutting rope, pulling out splinters, poking holes, or just opening those goddamn clamshell packages. Fuck, I hate those! You will use it several times a day. I get a knife that is not only good quality, but multi-purpose or custom based on your own needs. Consider getting a Leatherman or a similar multi-tool if you need more options, like the pliers. They come in handy for anything from hose clamps and wiring lights to fixing fences or grabbing things in tight spots. I only recommend what I personally would use, and you can't go wrong with anything Cold Steel, Buck, Leatherman, or Victorinox. The tweezers are great for pulling out black-legged ticks, too. Ask me how I know that. So get yourself a good knife, and I'll meet you over at number 3.
This is your fork, and this is a knife.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
This is also a knife.
Oh. Well, I'll be on my way.
I want to see more of him, and then suddenly none of him.
Alright, number 3 is a tip that seems small, but goes a long way in terms of saving you a hassle. But if you live in a cold climate, you need to keep your chicken or farm animal water from freezing. Now, this is easy if you're already on a grid and can run a heated tray or heat tape, but if you don't have the power, just bring in the chicken water at night to stop it from freezing with no electricity. Obviously, you can't bring in a giant tub of water for a horse or pigs unless it's on wheels or something. Gotta get creative sometimes off-grid, I understand. But a small auto waterer for birds is easy to manage. Bringing them in at night is a simple solution. It usually takes a long time to freeze completely solid depending on how cold it is outside, but I found they lasted for several hours before icing over, no problem. Just bring them in again at night. I recommend capping the waterer so you don't wake up with a huge mess on the floor when the ice thaws. And once again, ask me how I know that.
Come on!
That's fake.
Spraying into number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2? Number 2! Ah!
You want to go ahead and Rain-X coat your solar panels. Now, the panels won't get snow on them as easy, they won't ice up. Having your solar panels in an accessible area is ideal, but if your application is different, I especially recommend Rain-X at least once a year. It will make a huge difference. Not only does snow slip right off, but it repels dirt and grime as well. Just make sure the panels are clean before you apply. And there was one. Here we are, number 1. Gotta utilize them pallets to the fullest potential. Now, everything costs money, and pallets are not one of those things. From building buildings and fences to stacking wood on, starting large bonfires to building vanities, tables, and other light woodworking projects. The possibilities are endless and the limit is your imagination. I built a shed from pallets. It was the first building I put up on our land, and 5 years later, it's still standing with no issues. Built a quick and easy compost from pallets, and we constantly use pallets for kindling. They are a valuable resource on the homestead and free, free, free. Find a good supply of them, all the same size, to make building sheds and chicken coops easier, and use hardwood pallets for the floor and softwood pallets for the walls. Now, I can't stress enough how awesome pallets are. That's why it's number one. I've used them so many times and they've bailed me out so many times. So I will say it is worth it to have some of these on hand. Well, that does it for this week's episode. Hope you learned something today and make your off-grid living experience a little easier. If you like what you're seeing here today, please consider liking and subscribing. Anything is appreciated. And like always, if you have a thing in mind for 5 for Friday, you let me know. I might just make an episode for you. On next week's episode, I dive into the 5 of the craziest treasure finds of all time. Now, I'm doing this because the weather's getting warmer, and as you know, and maybe you don't, you look at my channel, I myself and my friends are treasure hunters, and we cannot wait to go back to the island and get that footage for y'all. So please stay tuned, and don't forget to mend it and send it.